Yeah.
Talk among
So
yourselves
DOWSEY,
or something like that.
yeah. DOWSEY has rocketed to the top of Challenger in the last few weeks. DOWSEY opened up 2-0 and was certainly on the short list there when everyone's trying to figure out of the mess, the mespionage, if you will, that is Challenger, who's good, right? Because it's Swiss. You're going to find out as time goes on, better players are going to play each other. DOWSEY jumped out to a 2-0 lead, then lost week 3 match to Inknun. It was a close one, 7-5. But when you lose in the first few rounds like that, people sort of sleep on you a little bit, right, for a couple of weeks because they're looking at all these 4-0s and 5-0s and 4-0-1s, and you're sitting there at 2-1 or 3-1 or something, and it just doesn't look as good. But then you play a few more matches, and they really start to separate again. DOWSEY has won, let me see here, 4 more matches in a row since that first loss, some of them definitively. The 7-0 win that we cast last week against Plastiques, really kind of shocking, frankly, given that Plastiques is a really good player. Just a huge, huge win for DOWSEY. And now has to be tested against Pox, one of the toughest tests to date. Pox had a similar thing happen, by the way. Pretty much the exact same thing. Win the first 2, lose in week 3 to a tough opponent, C9 high, also by 7-5, and then won the next 4 since. So they've had identical paths here to get to this point, and now they're playing.
I'm just looking at Challenger League. You've got like the top dozen are just terrifying.
Yeah. I think the top dozen could probably start off in, let's say, at least bronze, and a lot of them in silver or gold, and they'd be perfectly competitive there. But
I'm ready.
You're ready. Fire away. Let's go.
DOWSEY starts us off with banning Courtyard.
There it is. That's very interesting. So Pox, Courtyard is his most picked map. And so DOWSEY clearly counterplaying here. Clearly.
Yeah, and that's something DOWSEY does all the time. DOWSEY does a huge amount of research on his opponents, and counterplay, especially in the picks and bans phase, is something he is very known for.
Yeah, man after my own heart in the research sense. I love someone who does their homework. I love someone who puts in that time, puts in that effort, and thinks about how to counter things. And there's nothing more emblematic of that than banning a map like Courtyard, just because your opponent picks it a lot.
And next we have a ban of High Rise.
I don't know if DOWSEY was going to go for it anyway. I think just a straight thing from Pox. I don't like playing High Rise. It's too much of a guessing game. No, thank you.
And onto the picks. DOWSEY picks Gallery.
DOWSEY plays a lot of Gallery. Pox, on the other hand, has yet to play Gallery in any SCL match. So that's just a standard move there. Your opponent hasn't played it. You've played it a ton and you like it. If they don't ban it, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah. And a bit of deja vu. We're back to the library.
That makes a ton of sense here. So I mentioned DOWSEY likes Gallery. Maybe the only map they like more is Library. Those are basically DOWSEY's 2 favorite maps in terms of just comfort and frequency. And Library, the second most picked map by Pox. So DOWSEY bans his most picked map, so he picks his second most picked map, which is one of DOWSEY's favorites. That's what you want to do. You ban an innocuous map so that he will pick his second favorite map, so you don't have to use your pick on it. You wanted it anyway.
Next we... Uh-oh. Internet, please. Okay.
Internet, please.
Next we have Ballroom.
I don't have anything interesting to say about this except that Ballroom is crazy and I look forward to casting it. But I do think it helps a proactive spy, and I would characterize DOWSEY as a proactive spy.
And a bit of fun on Terrace.
Oh God, I'm not even going to attempt to analyze that. I have no idea. It's pretty. Is that a reason? Maybe.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. And let's see. Let's pop into the game. Starting on Gallery.
Let's do it.
Pox is the first spy. DOWSEY starts a sniper. Alright, Counterson.
This one is going to be quite a fun match, and according to DOWSEY in the chat here, this is a battle for first place, both tied at 12.
Yep.
Let's see how this goes in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, now again, Challenger doesn't work quite like the other ones. Really, if you're anywhere near the top, you're going to be fine. There's some auto advancements, and then tournament, I believe, for the rest. Don't ask me all the specifics. I think some of them are still being determined, too. But that first spot, it certainly will at least determine who you're going to play next.
Yeah, sometimes even just trying to get a good seed for the final bracket is going to be important.
Yeah, I think at this point it's more just about finding out what you're made of and becoming familiar with these opponents. I really think every match is more significant than the last as they accumulate data on each other, because it's going to be more and more about how they react to one another.
This
Less
is a
about fun.
very slow start from Pox.
Yeah, and a path by the Ambassador without a bug attempt. Interesting.
Huh.
And the problem is on Gallery, those paths can look so suspicious. It's almost like, well, you might as well bug because they might credit you with it anyway. This is not the kind of map you can afford to slow play on, though, unless you're really committed to not finishing.
That path went actually a little bit out of his way to stay away from bug range of the Ambassador. Steps all the way around into conversation with the seduction target and the double agent. Picks up the first flirt for 51%.
Banana bread.
There's the contact coming off right afterwards, but is still a little bit behind the curve, I think.
It's a pretty decent number of lowlights from it. I'm going to say pretty average overall, yeah.
Yeah.
That's no joke, though. Banana Bread, not an afterthought on this map. I would say Gallery, probably the only map where you can make a decent case for removing it as a mission if you had to place, 4 of 7.
Yeah?
You
I
just
think
get
you're
so
right.
you get so many lowlights off it sometimes. There's just 2 conversations. They're so far away. It's very damaging.
Seduction target steps away right after the flirt happens, so that's going to be useful moving forward. But if you step into the statue, pick up a highlight and a pair of inspects. Pox only has 1 minute and 15 left to play. What? Pox, why are we out front? Oh, we're doing... No, we're not doing... We are doing a time ad. That's why we're out front. Getting some more room to work. Knew he was running low on time, so it puts a little bit more on there.
Absolutely necessary. Got to be a bit of a rush even with it, but yeah, no hope without.
There's the flirt coming off.
That hurts.
85% not able to hit that green.
Yeah, and when you're running low on time like that, you really need to be able to flirt. You have a lot of options if you do that.
And flirt is also not that easy on this map.
No, it really isn't. That last flirt is not just, a matter of course, They might not give you an opportunity for a while.
1 minute to play. Still only the 1 mission completion, but 2 inspects. If we can find a flirt into the inspect swap at that closest statue to the sniper, that might be the only chance we have here.
I assume that's the plan, but you gotta
Here we
use
go.
this flirt first.
It's at the paintings and it comes off.
In line for that inspect swap now, but it's just so suspicious. There are a lot of statue highlights here, but I haven't seen many people go back a second time, so this is going to be very suspicious. This is the inspect swap spot.
Timer's counting down pretty fast. Really a sharp angle for DOWSEY here, trying to get eyes on that statue. Sees the top of it for a second, and that's enough to take the shot.
Just enough. You can see that little head and see that it switched to a 2, or the Venus de Willendorf. That's enough. That's all it takes. Clearly just waiting for it at that point. I just don't think anyone else was suspicious enough.
Yeah, was super on that swap. Nothing Pox really could have done about that one. Even with the time ad. And DOWSEY, my oh my track, it's Smallman.
Shenanigans. Let's get to it.
Shenanigans in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Shenanigans ensue.
Smallman, if he can get to the back of this back conversation here, he is effectively invisible.
On the other hand, if Smallman ends up in that spot on Gallery, it's almost a hard tell.
Just hard transfers! Just straight up bookcase to bookcase. I'm small, you can't see me.
Yep, and by the way, basically invisible at the green shelf as it's happening.
Banana bread.
Oh, just gonna rush.
Walking contact as well. Steps in, green contact, steps out. We were talking about shenanigans with Smallman. This is as shenanigans as it gets almost.
Doesn't even stay very long at that pad. I think they would have. If the ambassador was anywhere inside the building, I think they would have just kept rushing, but stopped and looked around and said, well, I guess there's actually nothing I can do here. And this is not a good spot to purloin anyway.
Standing as inconspicuous a spot as possible while picking up that first flirt. We've got the hardtail done. We've got the contact done. We're not low lit yet, but we may as well be.
Yeah, I guess DOWSEY thought, you know what, this felt like a rush. It was going really well, but I just don't see where it lines up. I know better. I'm going to stop, slow down, see if I can flirt, and wow!
Target! Oh my god, seduction target just wants to party.
Now,
Green
when this...
test up to 84%. We still have 2 minutes on the clock.
He's so sharply dressed. That's what it is. The ST will walk up to you sometimes. It's not a big deal on most maps. It can be a little nice, particularly against a certain type of sniper that might pair you or not pair you based on that. But on Gallery, it's a big deal.
I don't think the flirt cooldown has expired yet. No, it hadn't.
Yeah, that happens. That still gets me sometimes, man. It really does.
Oh, that's
my
a
God.
red purloin! Run! We're small! You can't see me! I'm in the back of the conversation!
Just gonna hide in the back. Just gonna hide in the back. At some point, you're gonna have to come
I'm
out and do
invisible.
something. So what do? Hide in the back and hope the ambassador walks by you and you bug and they can't shoot you? Is that what's happening?
Or do you just hope that they didn't notice you there, but they noticed, and Pox takes the shot, takes the
Yikes.
game. Oh, everything was going so well, DOWSEY.
Yeah, I don't think you need to do that. I think, at that point, you can still finish your flirt, and you've got some options, particularly bug, which if you're not already a huge suspect, you're going to get some opportunities to do that.
Everything was going so well, but now it's 1-1 as Pox steps back into the spy side for round 2 in 3, 2, 1. Playing it.
The funny thing is, sometimes a red is no worse than a white if they just sort of catch it at the end. In this case, Pox just had such a clear view of it flashing back and forth after Toby did the kneel, so there's no mistaking who it was with. It was just as clear as day.
Very nice attempt at the bug, moving opposite directions from the ambassador, but with 2 characters that aren't necessarily slow, that is so difficult to make it take. It almost happened with a little bit of a wraparound, but just no dice.
Yeah, now 30 seconds are already off the clock, and nothing has happened.
Well, stepping in for the first flirt here in the conversation. It's a green test up to 51. A 2 flirt here would be very nice indeed.
You might need to after that slow start, yeah.
Slow start and a slow continuation after the flirt as well.
And the thing you got to watch out here for is if you know you're playing an opponent against DOWSEY who's going to study your style a lot, and certainly going to be studying the replays in-game, they already know you had trouble finishing Gallery the first time.
Yeah.
So, slow playing again? Oh boy.
Oh boy, that's a purloin.
And I think they're a huge
DOWSEY
suspect.
doesn't know.
Gonna get a couple of highlights nearby, just narrow this party down. They could probably fire off a bunch of lowlights out front. Yep, there you go.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say pretty suspicious of Pox in particular, but just gonna hedge some bets here.
Well, we shall see. There's no highlight yet.
The question is, are any of these people gonna do anything?
Pox is, as he picks up the 2 flirt. So we've got the 2 flirt done. We've got the purloin done. We've got a minute and a half to play. What next?
Probably a time ad the way things are going.
Yeah, it's looking that way, but Pox doesn't want it. Pox has a plan, theoretically.
This doesn't come up very often, but Pox just brought a drink outdoors. That is unusual. AI are reluctant to bring drinks outdoors on Gallery. I don't know the exact percentage. I think people have estimated it about 10%.
It's very true.
Now, not a huge deal. I don't know how much it's worth noticing, but it is a risk.
Dog on the way to bookcase?
I think that'd be a pretty good decision, or would have been, while it was an option.
Yep, doesn't wind up happening. 45 seconds left to play. What are you doing, Pox? What's the play here?
The play is I white purloined, and I'm afraid I'm going to get shot, so I don't want to do anything, which I totally understand.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Might have to call out a contact, though, just to try to induce something.
Oh, at minimum. I think at minimum. You're either going to try to finish, or you just have to hope maybe someone has done something. Can't time at this late either, though. I don't see how this is going to work.
Fake contact, here it is. It is a white test.
Banana bread.
Exactly 10 seconds left is where it comes off. DOWSEY does not have the luxury to wait for overtime if he wants to, but does he want to?
Nope, does not want to take the shot. There was an SDA in conversation, but I think just not convinced any of the people there could have actually purloined.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. DOWSEY, the nice patient game of sniper. DOWSEY is very good at patience on the sniper side of things.
Yeah, very good patience, and I think that's a big deal on a map like Gallery. It's
Well,
very hard. It's very easy to imagine you missed at least the bug.
Now stepping back into the spy side, likely slightly less shenanigansy. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
No. Because you're not being watched, because you're not small man, you can be more shenanigansy, if that's a word.
There is nothing more shenanigansy than Smallman on Gallery. I'm calling you out, Track.
That's true.
3 on a painting! Oh no!
There's so many people. I mean, it's a great work of art. What do you expect? Look at that. It's a solid color square.
34% off of that first flirt. Oh, the beautiful reverse drive-by bug at the big red painting, and then going for the fingerprint. DOWSEY is not slowing down. Pretty nice looking return, maybe a little bit quick on the give back. Stepping into the next flirt right after that. Another white test, nice and close, up to 68%. Still 2 minutes and 25 to get that last flirt on the board.
And I think at this point you want to avoid statues entirely if you can.
Yeah, that would be good. Another briefcase for the second fingerprint.
Interesting, because the ambassador just put the blue book away, and there's just a fingerprint there. I don't know if it's really any less safe, but generally speaking, briefcase is the most obvious fingerprint.
Yeah, that was a little bit unapologetic. DOWSEY, with still 2 minutes left to play, has the bug done, has the fingerprint done, has most of a flirt done, is getting the contact done right now. White test, but a pretty quick one as he picks up a drink right after the fact. I almost expected that to be a purloin.
3 lowlights, that is not bad for Gallery. That's a pretty good contact.
Yeah, that's a very nice contact.
And now you just got to flirt to win.
And DOWSEY is staring him down. It's the conversation. This was a beautifully played game of Spy from DOWSEY.
Not only does the ST enter a conversation, there's a nice big spot right next to them. They don't go to paintings or anything where they might leave quickly, where it's a risk to follow them. They basically do exactly what you want. They go into a big open spot in a conversation with room on the side.
Absolutely beautiful.
And I don't want to
DOWSEY steps out of the gallery with a 3-1 lead.
I don't want to speak for Pox, but I have to imagine that if you're Pox that game, that screen pops up and you think, "What? Really?"
Yeah. Yeah, that was like KCM clean.
Yeah, very clean. Now, 2 briefcases for the fingerprint against certain spots. I don't know if you're going to get away with that against someone like Bloom, for example. The fingerprint was the only part that seemed particularly aggressive.
This is true.
But the good banana bread really helped.
And now we step into Library. Pox on the Spy, needing a little bit of a pick-me-up after the first few games. DOWSEY on the Sniper in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
From a map where the sniper can see everything, at least ostensibly, to a map where they can only see 1/3 of the map at a time.
Seduction target is starting things off at statues, so Pox is going to take a brief stop at the paintings to see if the seduction target gives him a moment. Lets her walk by and just shuffles over for that first flirt. Nice close green for 49%. That is still in 2-flirt range if we get snuggly.
Oh, and starts to follow as well. How nice.
Very nice indeed. But never really got far enough away to start ticking down that snooze timer more quickly. That was probably an attempted bookmark.
Yep.
Does eventually get it marked as yellow.
It's still hard, even with the new options.
Stepping into conversation with the double agent, looking for the first contact.
And this is a little late to be doing all this. If you dump that book all of a sudden right afterwards, though, if the banana bread distracts from the book dump, suddenly you're looking okay again.
Indeed, indeed. 2 minutes and 40 left on the clock. Here's the contact. Here's the leave. And it looks like it's going back to yellow.
Very surprising. And I'm already starting to get a little worried.
Animation transfer, animation bullet.
And I don't know if DOWSEY was actually staring that down or just happened to be looking, but it was just completely visible.
Yeah, I think Pox expected DOWSEY to rotate away, and he just didn't.
I think maybe what happened there is that it just made so much sense for someone to do a banana bread into the shelves that DOWSEY is looking at someone approaching the shelves. It doesn't matter that they have the correct book, because that maneuver is going to make you look briefly, and while you're looking, you see the action test transfer instead, maybe.
May well be, but
Ambassador on screen too, by the way.
DOWSEY continues his reign of terror. It's now 4-1. Pox on the sniper side in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Of course, that was just a sniper win. If you really want to pull away, here's your chance right here. Take a commanding lead with a spy win here.
Very fast contact. There's so many people out of conversation.
I see 8 at least. Gotta get all.
Oh!
Oh boy.
Oh, it's Lola for the banana split though. And just immediately does a green animation transfer right in front of the laser. What is happening right now?
Must be betting on the low light, because if you look over, there are 2 statue visitors and the ambassador right there next to you. So I think you're basically just saying, you know what, I'm just want to assume I'm low lit, although the green certainly helps. Maybe just banking on it. This has happened to me before. I once played a set with DOWSEY where using this exact same character on pub did an early banana split and got a low light for it.
Ah!
Now, that might be deliberate with Alice. Alice is one of the absolute fastest characters. It doesn't seem like it would make a big difference with a split, but sometimes it can give you that little extra distance between you and the conversation that helps convince you you couldn't have been there.
Oh man, 51% on a flirt and then a green purloin and bails. Look at DOWSEY all the way on the other end of the map by the time anything happens, and the thing that did happen was a reject. Now we're at center statues. Toby, what are you doing here? Why did you follow us all this way?
I don't think it's going to matter. Another reject. There's just no way to come back from this if you're Pox. You have to have such a good sense of things to avoid shooting here at all, let alone figuring out it's DOWSEY. But that's a clear look at the green, though. Pox might be relatively confident that it wasn't Rocker who took the list there.
Yeah.
But might not have any idea.
It's not going to help.
Yeah, it means Rocker won't get shot right away or become a huge suspect, but I
think DOWSEY is so far in the clear right now. Not even, like, finishing up the animation transfer. It was a white test on the second one, a little bit on camera, but we're low lit. Who cares?
Yeah, and you got 2 minutes to finish the flirt. That's huge. As long as you don't give it away with a clumsy swap or like a big bug where you could see that arm extend even when they're low lit, sometimes that'll give you away. That's one way to lose a low light. There's no reason not to just flirt here.
Yeah.
This game's over.
Yeah, completely. Just waiting at windows to see where the seduction target goes, who is also low lit, by the way.
Yeah. It was over when we got a second reject on the green purloin by a low light. That already you could tell.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a DOWSEY win. There's no 2 ways about it. Still 1 minute and 15 left to play. Needs literally any flirt. And is low lit.
So I'm actually a little bummed that the seduction target walked away. I wanted to see what DOWSEY thought, because if DOWSEY thinks they're low lit there, you could walk away and come back and flirt aggressively and be done with it. If they're not sure, they wait and timer flirt. Now we'll never find out because the ST leaves anyway.
Yep. There's the cooldown done. All the way around the other side. Right click for the nail in the coffin.
And
And
there's
there's the countdown. There's no way. DOWSEY just wins clean.
Yep. And that's what does it. The previous win was nice. This is the one that mattered. This is the one where you take the commanding 5-1 lead.
5-1. Good gravy. Pox needs to pull something special out of his hat if he wants to make this happen. It all has to start now. We've seen it before. Will we see it again? In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
And the nice thing about this is it really frees you up to be aggressive when you have this kind of lead at Spy. You can throw stuff against the wall at Spy, and as long as you take care of business on Sniper, you're just going to grind it out and win. You're going to win a war of attrition now.
Yeah.
And once again, we see pearls on Library. A rare sight. We've seen it twice in one night now.
Still a pretty slow start from Pox, all things considered. DOWSEY has been going really hard, and Pox is really taking his time on these games.
Yeah, this has been a consistent theme. And again, if you know yourself, if this is your tendency, and you're playing someone like DOWSEY, don't you have to assume they know that's your tendency? And there's just nothing happening.
There's literally nothing happening. Nothing is going on. I'm sorry we're being quiet, but there's nothing to say right now.
Not even really sure this is a setup for a bug.
I mean, it might work as one, depending on what the ambassador does, but... We're just so low on... Nope, never mind. We're statues now. Picks up a flirt. Picks up a highlight for center statues. We don't have a single completion yet, and we're highlight for center statues. This is not the game Pox needs.
No, you're probably going to need a timeout here. Or some help. Maybe a really good green purloin, frame someone. You got to make decisions very quickly. What they do next is going to say a lot.
We need DOWSEY to, like, hallucinate a swap or something. This is rough.
And you're not even next to your seduction target. I mean, I know you're already done, but, you know, why are you there then? You know, why are you in this conversation?
Well,
So
does
done.
get the flirt finished up.
Yeah, I was going to say, you have to get out of there in a hurry. Okay, good, good.
Yeah.
The thing is, these are normal pauses to take after these completions and things like that in a normal game. But you've already burned enough time that you actually kind of got to move now.
Yeah, this is not a normal situation anymore. Only a minute and 15. 3 missions and no progress. We do still have the double agent available. We do still have the bug available.
At this point, you have to specifically think about what kind of missions are quick. You're probably not going to get away with a quick microfilm.
Well,
example.
Purloin is quick. We hit a green test on that. 1 minute left to play.
Oh,
This
it
is
was
still
off
doable.
screen. It was off screen. DOWSEY saw Toby walking away from that general conversation, but that was it. I think that's a clean purloin, or about as clean as you're going to hope for.
Why are we side statues right now?
Yeah, because you can't swap for the win. Maybe you're just trying to look like you couldn't have purloined. That's all I can think.
This is why he swapped the statue. He just swapped it. DOWSEY's, no.
That is really rough for Pox because I think that purloin was really good, and there's a really good chance that purloin alone was going to win them the game.
Yeah, that Purloin was still going, by the way. It hadn't been taken yet.
Still going, not on screen, and not on screen shortly after. Toby already kind of maybe say a fifth of the map away, walking away from the general conversation. No reject scene, a green, plenty of other moderate suspects. I think there was a really good chance that that game was going to be won if not for that statue visit.
If the statue swap might not have been a terrible idea, I think what the plan was there was the Purloin comes off, and then DOWSEY is busy figuring out what happened with the Purloin while the swap happens.
Yeah, right.
It's the kind of thing scientists used to do back in the day, but the Purloin just never came off.
Right. I guess you don't know how good the Purloin is, but when it drags on that much, I think maybe you want to rethink things a little bit. You want to think, well, maybe it's going to be down to 3 or 4 people, and those are pretty good odds as a spy.
I completely agree. It's 6-1. DOWSEY can close it out right here on the second map on gallery in 3, 2, 1, playing it. This looks like a flirt. It's not a flirt, but it looked like it was a flirt.
It's not a flirt, I swear.
Alright, side. Oh, he clanked it! Oh no!
Now, this is interesting. The instant book pickup designed to look like I could not have possibly clanked. Pretty risky. And I gotta be, it really shouldn't work because Pox can see there are so few people on that side. So if it happened on the right side, it pretty much has to be one of those two, and they do pick up highlights for it.
Banana bread.
Does take a highlight, gets the contact.
Banana bread.
Gets the contact again.
All the contacts. Let's just make sure you want to make absolutely sure that the double agent knows you're there. You want to make absolutely sure you contacted them. Maybe they didn't hear you the first time. You just yell it again. Banana bread, banana bread. Did you hear me say banana bread, by the way?
34% on the flirt. Yellow microfilm in pocket. We got the swap done. We got the contact done. This game is real weird. A clank has happened.
And 2 back-to-back banana breads have also happened. It's a standard spy game, really.
2 back-to-back banana breads where the first one took, by the way.
Right. It's not too weird to have 2 when the first one doesn't take, although you almost never have them within 5 seconds of each other, regardless.
A little bit of a weird sidle over to get that flirt, but it was a white test, so it's only 60%. Gonna need a green test for the 2 flirt.
Yep, and the seduction target agrees to sip and stick around. That's helpful.
Purloin at windows. It's a green test, but it was right on camera.
Green Purloin at windows pretty darn powerful here. The main thing is that the missions are almost done. So there's not going to be a lot of time to react necessarily once this Purloin does go off.
Purloin has gone off just now. The contact, the DOWSEY finishes up. But so does DOWSEY's life.
That's great. Pretty crazy that he got that much progress after an early clank when there was basically no one else near him on that side of the map.
That game was awesome. I don't know what was happening.
There were just so few people who could have clanked at that point. I put the over under at 2 more missions tops at that from then on. Got to 4. Not bad.
Yeah. DOWSEY. Well, Pox is staying alive. He's not dead yet. We made it to ballroom. Pox on the spy. DOWSEY on the sniper. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
And if you're Pox, you came so close with that green Purloin as pearls. If you win that game, it's 5-3 right now.
That's doable. 5-3 is doable. 6-2.
Especially on ballroom. Especially on ballroom. Yeah, you'd basically be playing this game for a tie.
What was that?
Accidental bump.
I guess flirts for 31%. He just fixed it away from the seduction target for a 31% flirt. I hate you, Pox.
Hard to imagine that's deliberate because why would it be?
I'm kidding, Pox. I don't actually hate you.
No, you're a tremendous player, Pox. Just, that was probably a mistake, that's all.
Yes. It's fine. I'll survive.
Yeah, gasp, pearl clutching, a mistake in a game of SpyParty.
Like, it's 31%. I hate 31% enough as it is.
Just take it easy. Maybe he'll go up in green test, and then you'll feel better. Maybe.
Well, look at this position, though. Next to he's in a very good position to get a bug off on the ambassador as he's stepping away. There's a good amount of occlusion. Toby's helping out now as well.
4 people at statues. There's just a lot of movement right here. This is an
Banana bread.
active party. You might not have to complete.
Contact, 1 low light, 2 low lights. One of those was a highlight. 3, 4 low lights. 2
Oh, goodness.
highlight.
All the highlights I just mentioned get wiped out, terribly timed. Tried to use it to cover a bug, and the bug didn't take.
That's sad.
I think having gotten so little done, it was a perfectly reasonable amount, but hadn't gotten much done, still actually ahead based on party movement there.
Yeah, if that bug
Until
takes,
that banana bread.
If
the
that
bug
bug
takes
takes it, it's worth it.
Yeah, if the bug takes, it's worth it, but that was such a huge trade-off with those high-quality highlights getting knocked down on Ballroom. Really, really rough.
Yeah.
I mean, let's put it like, he gave away so many good highlights there that it was barely worth it if the bug took, in my opinion. And it's definitely not what it doesn't.
Yeah, that was pretty rough.
Banana bread.
Another contact.
Into the purloin,
Well,
and
these double contacts. That was probably a purloin attempt, and away goes Pox. DOWSEY making it happen, 7-2.
yeah, so DOWSEY not only with his 5th straight win since that week 3 loss, but the last 2, obviously against increasingly tough opponents, Plastiques and Pox, 7-0 and 7-2.
Woder,
Big
are you
definitive
ready for
win.
yours?
Oh my god. Are you still good, Jack?
I'll help you out, buddy. I'll do this one for you, sure.
Thank you. Let me set this up.
DOWSEY, by the way, all alone at the top of Challenger now, 7-1-0. That week 3 loss, the only one. If you're Pox, hard to feel too bad. You're 6-2. You followed a similar trajectory, and you just lost to the hottest player in Challenger. What are you gonna do? Probably wanted to come a little closer, but I still think, I don't know. I'm not gonna say a turning point because the win was definitive, but the best hope for a turnaround there was that game as Pearls at Library with that green purloin, that really effective green purloin goes off, and then they swap anyway. I think if that game flips, maybe DOWSEY's got to, ease up a little bit, pull the reins back a little, and then maybe we see a different outcome. We'll never know.
DOWSEY's on fire, though. He's had so many big wins in the last few weeks. Like, definitive wins.
Yeah, do not underestimate the value of research, the value of counterplay, especially at this level. A lot of people here are new to the game, so you can either immerse yourself in it, or you can just sort of ease yourself in. I think we're at the point in Challenger now where if you're still near the top, you just can't sleep on that anymore. It's no longer an option not to study your opponents.
All right, are we
All
ready?
right. Woder versus Teetery. Last match.